Buckle up, Marvel fans. We got some new leaks and updates when it comes to Shang Chi 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Spider-Man 4. And these updates are pretty cool, but they get even cooler when you add in the context of all the other leaks and rumors that have been out there about all of these things for a long time. So let's break down the new leaks and reports with context. Let's go. Oh, and all of these reports are coming from Daniel RPK's Patreon. Let's begin with Spider-Man number 4. So Daniel reported that Sony and Marvel are looking for a new director, which means that Marvel won and John Watts is not returning. If you don't know why I'm talking about Marvel winning, well, that's okay, that's why I do what I do. Let me explain it. So basically, a lot of the leaks coming out over the past month have been about Sony and Marvel being at odds when it comes to Spider-Man 4. There are conflicts about bringing back the director. There are conflicts about the story elements, with Marvel wanting it to be more grounded and Sony wanting it to be more multiversal, bringing Tobey and Andrew back. There are fights going on about the release date, with Sony wanting it to come out ASAP and Marvel wanting to delay it into 2026 or further. And I think that's it, but basically Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, there's like a lot of drama between Sony and Marvel. So this report here explaining that John Watts is not returning does mean that Marvel won on that negotiation, because that is something that apparently Marvel really wanted. They want a new voice for this chapter in Peter Parker's life, which I think is good. But I've also seen a lot of people jumping the gun and talking about how this means Marvel won every bit of the argument and Marvel's just going to get their way on all of these contentious things that we've been hearing about for the past couple of months, and that is not true. I mean, it could happen, but that's not what is in this report. And if anything, this report actually indicates that Sony is likely to win on some of those other elements, because that's how negotiation works. You win some, you lose some. Each side gets a little bit, but each side doesn't perfectly get everything they wanted. That's a negotiation. So just keep in mind that this does not mean that you're going to get only grounded stuff and that the movie's going to be delayed. Sony's likely to win on at least one or two of these things that they are fighting about with Marvel. But of course, we will keep you updated if anything does come out about those other things that they are fighting about. Now, as far as John Watts not coming back, I don't know. I'm kind of impartial to it. Like, I see the concept of bringing in a fresh voice for a fresh part of Peter Parker's life. Like, I like that, but I also love the John Watts, Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I love all three of them. I really, really like how that whole unit was working together. So I can also see Sony's side of this one. Maybe once we hear who the new director will be, I'll get a little bit more excited. I'll be like, oh man, their sensibilities with Tom Holland Spider-Man, that could be really, really cool. But for now, I'm kind of like, eh. All right, but next up, let's talk about Shang Chi 2. Now, Daniel stated that this movie is happening. It will be shooting next year. Destin Daniel Crichton is to return as the writer and the director. Now, the reason that's important is because Destin Daniel Crichton was going to be the director of Avengers 5, but that's when it was going to be called the Kang Dynasty. Now, it's no longer the Kang Dynasty, and they're doing a lot of crazy changes to the story of Avengers 5 and 6, so Destin Daniel Crichton is no longer the director on that project. Now, a lot of people speculated that he'd now be coming back to do Shang-Chi 2, but it was never officially reported by any insider and scooper until now. And in fact, Destin Daniel Crichton was just announced to be attached to a Naruto project, a live-action Naruto movie, which seems freaking awesome and is a perfect fit in my opinion. I'm excited to see that. But for the sake of Marvel fans, a lot of people got worried when they heard that, because they were like, yo, does this mean he's not going to be doing anything Marvel? He's not doing Shang-Chi 2? Like, what the heck? But no, alas, Destin Daniel Crichton will be returning for Shang-Chi 2, which I think is awesome, man. I really liked the first Shang-Chi movie. Like, it's one of my favorite out of Phase 4, and I think one of the best new characters and new faces of the MCU. So I'm excited that he will be coming back to that. Now, this next part here is speculation, but I've been saying this in other videos. I strongly feel like a lot of the plot that was going to be in Avengers 5 is now going to be taken and put into Shang-Chi 2. Partially because of the director, Destin Daniel Crichton, coming from Avengers 5 to Shang-Chi 2, but also partially because it feels like they want to go multiversal faster with these next two Avengers movies. So a lot of the 616 Avengers, like Shang-Chi, and the people that are set up in the post-credit scene of the first Shang-Chi movie, the sort of Earthbound Avengers, it really does feel like that was going to be a big story in Avengers 5. Maybe now, not so much. So I think they're probably moving that over to Shang-Chi too. But again, that's speculation. That's just what I think is happening. No report has confirmed that yet. But Daniel did go on to say that Shang-Chi 2 will involve time travel. Now that is really interesting because the rumors about Shang-Chi 2 before this report were that it was going to involve time travel, Shang-Chi and a bunch of Avengers going back in time, possibly even fighting against a variant of Kang in Egypt, and have something to do with what the Ten Rings actually are. There was speculation that it was going to be Rama Tut. You might even involve Moon Knight in Shang-Chi 2. And of course, this is all just rumors. We don't know if any of that's real. But the fact that Daniel brings up that this movie will be a time-traveling movie is really interesting. I think it will connect to the Ten Rings, and it will connect to time travel, and possibly to the Kangs or the Council of Kangs, or towards a new villain if Marvel is indeed going away from Kang and the Council completely. That's a whole nother thing. I've been reporting on that a lot over the past couple of months, but it's still kind of unclear how much Marvel will be moving away from Kang. Like, technically, they could be moving away from Kang and the Council of Kangs, but then just using Kang and the Council of Kangs in Shang-Chi 2 rather than Avengers 5. That's still technically a way that they're moving away from Kang from Avengers 5. You see what I'm saying? And frankly, the insiders are a little bit divided on what Marvel will actually do with Kang, the Council of Kangs, the multiversal saga, these other rumored villains that will be coming in to fill the void. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of unclear at this point. We don't know exactly what's going on with Kang. So you could have Kang in Shang-Chi 2 or a variant of Kang in Shang-Chi 2, which would be cool. Like, I'm down with that. I don't absolutely hate Kang. I want nothing to do with Kang. I just prefer maybe Doctor Doom or going in the direction of other villain. And of course, I gotta talk about Iron Fist. I almost forgot to talk about Iron Fist in the first recording of this, but here we go. It's the power of editing. Let's talk about Iron Fist. So I think this is awesome. I mean, Shang-Chi is this awesome martial artist using the chi and using the 10 rings now in the MCU, but Iron Fist, the immortal Iron Fist, has always been the best at martial arts in all of Marvel Comics. So it would be really cool to bring in that kind of a character side by side with Shang-Chi. There could kind of be this sort of friendly rivalry thing going on. And so that sounds freaking awesome. A lot of us assume it would be Danny Rand, the current Iron Fist from Marvel Comics, and maybe it would be Colleen Wing because she kind of becomes Iron Fist at the end of the Netflix show. However, if Shang-Chi is going back in time, technically there would be an immortal Iron Fist back then. There would be a protector of Kunlun back then. And so it could be a completely different version of the Iron Fist in the past that Shang-Chi is going to go hang out with and try to stop Kang or some villain with. Either way, there's a lot of reasons to get excited about the Iron Fist, about Kunlun, as that is another one of these hidden cities from Marvel's canon, very similar to Tao Lao that they put in to Shang-Chi. So I see connections here to other realms and dimensions and other kind of people that are technically from different universes, but are also a part of the 616 Earthbound martial art protector people. But okay, the last thing we have to talk about is about Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's really about the director of Deadpool and Wolverine, Shawn Levy. According to Daniel's new report, Marvel is just so thrilled with Deadpool and Wolverine that they want Shawn Levy on other projects. And I think that makes perfect sense. And a lot of us are just picking up this really big hyped up vibe from Deadpool and Wolverine. It seems like this is something Marvel's really excited about. Disney's really excited about. A lot of the fans are excited about this too. And back in the day, that was really Marvel's blueprint. They would work with different directors and writers. When they found people they liked to work with, they doubled and tripled down on them. I mean, think about how many movies the Russo brothers did leading up to Infinity War and Endgame. Marcus and McFeely were writing a ton of movies throughout the entirety of the Infinity Saga. So I like this report. I like the fact that Marvel's confident in Deadpool 3 and that they want to work more with Shawn Levy. And as far as what movie Shawn Levy could direct, I think the X-Men is the obvious choice. There's apparently a lot of X-Men in this Deadpool 3 movie. And so I do think he'd be great with anything X-Men, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that he could do as well. Like, frankly, I don't know if there's an MCU project or property that I'd be disappointed to see Shawn Levy direct. Thor 4, would love it. Doctor Strange 3, would love it. World War Hulk, would love it. Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland that we just talked about in this movie, honestly, I'd love it. And of course, let me know, is there a project you'd love to see Shawn Levy on in the MCU? Let me know in the comment section below. And in fact, let me know what you think about all this news in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.